What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to From The Bench Vols. I'm your host, Will Meadows, and welcome to our Wednesday edition of the show where we have so much to talk about. Today was originally going to be our Spotlight Series Part 2. It was going to be the offensive line. We're going to push that back to Friday because so much has happened in the world of Tennessee athletics in the last 48 hours. Zakai Zeigler has officially filed a lawsuit in hopes of getting his 5th year of eligibility to play one more year for the Tennessee Volunteers. Tennessee baseball has a lot of meaningful games at stake, one today and potentially one tomorrow against ranked teams that they need to beat if they want to have a chance at hosting a regional. Some big games on the table for the Vols. And then lately, I wasn't going to talk too much about this, but there's a lot to talk about today, so why not talk about it today? Tennessee could make this switch potentially after 2026 back to Adidas. A lot of Vol fans are giving their input on that, and I'm going to give my input on that. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, leave a like, leave a comment, and I appreciate you guys joining us for this Wednesday edition of the show. So we are going to start with the baseball because there's a game today, so that's just going to make its way to the front, the most important. But we'll start with Tennessee's arguably best player and probably a top 10 pick in next year's MLB draft. Liam Doyle wins SEC Pitcher of the Year, was the nation's strikeout leader, the SEC's strikeout leader, all the things. I mean, the guy was electric this year. I mean, just leading the nation in strikeouts in general. That speaks for itself. Last year at Ole Miss, as a transfer from Ole Miss this year, new to the Volunteers team this year, was pretty good last year. Not near as good as the SEC Pitcher of the Year. The strides that he has made from last year to this year, and seeing when Vitello and staff, I mean, I'm not there, but surely they didn't see a guy to come in and be the SEC and National Pitcher of the Year if he wins that National Pitcher of the Year, but the SEC Pitcher of the Year. They were probably expecting a guy to just come into this bullpen and just help the pitching staff. But, I mean, you get a guy who is arguably the most electric pitcher in college baseball, just a huge pickup by Vitello and his team. And like I said, was good at Ole Miss, a starter, but not this type of guy. So credit to Vitello and his staff, credit to Liam Doyle for just the constant improvement throughout the year. We saw him start off the year unreal. That he was the first video I talked about baseball on this channel, which I know I haven't talked about baseball a ton, maybe not as much as I should, but I'm simply just not near as knowledgeable about college baseball. I watch it. I just couldn't give you some expert analysis on anything. Not that I could give you expert analysis on football or basketball, but I definitely know a little bit more about football and basketball than I do about baseball. But like I said, Tennessee has some huge games on the schedule today at 2 p.m. and then tomorrow, if they win that one, it's the SEC tournament in Hoover. Tennessee's won it all before. They've won it 2 times out of the last 3, I think. 2 of the last 3 or 4. Obviously, this year's team is not last year's team. There's probably not a Tennessee team that's been like last year's team. I mean, that team was just ridiculous. Won the national championship for a reason, but they've got some big ones on the table. That we all know how inconsistent they've been coming down the stretch this year. They've constant errors, not timely hitting, just not very good defense and play in the field. And, a lot of that's in the air. They're playing guys at positions that they don't normally play. We've got Andrew Fisher at first, and then they've got Dalton Bargo, who's never played third in his life, over there at third. Just inconsistent all around, and the pitching's been a little up in the air as well. But there's no doubt about it that Tennessee has the talent to make a run at this tournament. They've done it before, like I said. Am I saying, oh, yeah, just book it, Tennessee's going to end up in Omaha? No, but I definitely am saying that they have the potential to. Talent's never been the problem. You know what I mean? And it's not like in these series that, what have they lost, 7 of their last 8? It's not like in these series that Tennessee's just been getting beat down. They'll win the first one or the second one, and then it comes down to Sunday, and they struggle with timely hitting, and they struggle with defense. That's all there is to it. Tennessee can play with just about anybody in the country, and we're about to find that out. As if they win this game against Alabama, who's I think the 24th ranked team in the country per D1 baseball, they've got the number 2 ranked team in the country and the number 1 team in the SEC tournament and the Texas Longhorns, a team that they have hung with before, a team that they are going to need to hang with again. But I mean, it's like I'm saying, it's not that Tennessee is just getting the belt by these guys. They're hanging with them, and they're just coming up short. And a lot can change if a team can get hot. If the bats get hot at this time of year, a lot of things could go correctly. We've seen, like I said, we've seen Tennessee run the table in this tournament, and they have all the tools to be able to do it again. So that's all I'm going to kind of say about baseball. Again, I know I don't talk about baseball probably as much as I should. I hope to have a guest on here pretty soon for baseball. I'll get more into that next week, just before we get all into the regionals and the super regionals and hopefully the College World Series. We'll get into all that later. Secondly, we'll talk about Zakai filing his lawsuit for his 5th year of eligibility, and I'm going to kind of give my opinion on that. I think that the lawsuit was something like 5 years of eligibility, and he only got to play 4 years is unlawful or something. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I've touched on this before. Excuse me. I just stuttered pretty bad there. Let me get a drink of water real quick. But I've touched on this before, man. Do I love Zakai Zeigler? Yes, no doubt about it. He is arguably the greatest point guard of all time to ever play for the Tennessee Volunteers. Just look at the records he holds and all the things. He is all that it means to be a Vol. No doubt about it, like I said. But it's just kind of time to hang it up. Is Zakai Zeigler a great basketball player? Yes. Will he probably play? Can he play overseas if he wants? Yes. I don't think he's going to get drafted. I feel like most people that watch the NBA understand that. I know there's a lot of Tennessee grandparents and kind of older people that are like, oh, Zakai Zeigler could go play in the NBA. Probably not. They also hear Dick Vitale on college basketball calls, and he's going to tell you that Zakai Zeigler is going to go play in the NBA. I mean, don't get me wrong, a legend in his own right, but Dick Vitale, like Mark Fears is a great example because I heard him do it just about every game that he called for Alabama this year. Like, Mark Sears is a 5'10" guard who is undersized and old. That plus that equals not a very high draft pick. He might go late second round just because of his experience, but Mark Sears is not going to be very good in the NBA. And Mark Sears will hit a clutch time 3, and Dick Vitale will let you know, oh, goodness, this kid's incredible. This kid's incredible. He's a first-round pick. He's going to be one of the top picks in the league. Like, no. And I know that he said that for Zakai Zeigler as well. Zakai Zeigler's probably not going to play in the NBA. He could go play over in Europe. And who can blame him? You know, he's probably making so much money at NIL here. Why would you not want to say he is truly, like I said, he embodies what it means to be a Vol. But I'm just kind of ready to turn the page. Like I said, I've talked about it on here before, but we've had our sad goodbye. We got beat down by Houston. We had the towels over our head with the tears rolling. Yes, it's sad. Yes, I love Zakai Zeigler, but I'm ready for a new chapter to start. We've got guys like Jacoby Gillespie in here to fill that role as a starting point guard, and we have a good team built around that. You know what I mean? We built around not having Zakai Zeigler. We've got Nate Ament, who's going to want the ball in his hands a lot for good reason. Jalen Carey, other transfers from Europe and Georgia Tech and Ole Miss, and you know that all the things. I would just, because if he comes back, I'd assume that Gainey gets to come back, and I don't even know if that means Meshack would get to come back, and Chaz Lanier. Chaz Lanier will probably go to the NBA. He's had a very good combine, which I am going to talk about on the next episode. Chaz Lanier lit it up at the combine, as we know, the kind of shooter that he is. But I don't think Chaz Lanier would come back is what I'm saying. I wonder what that means for the other guys that graduated. But I just don't understand it, man. It's you played your 4 years, you're done. That's how college basketball works. You graduated college, which means you don't play anymore. I hate that. It's kind of harsh, and I know some people are definitely not going to agree with that. But you've played your 4 years, you've walked with the cap and gown on, you're done. I just think that it's time to kind of hang it up. It's a time for a new era at the point guard position for the Tennessee Volunteers. That's just kind of what I think about that. Again, I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with that, but it's just kind of time for something new, in my opinion. And then I've never done this before on this episode on this channel, but I'm going to read this little article per On3 about this, potential brand switching, just because there's a lot about it. And for those who don't know, I'm not going to show you the one for today, but I just have little bullet points down here, and this is a lot, so I want to make sure that you guys understand all this, and I'll give my opinion on it later. So this is about, per On3, about Tennessee potentially making the switch from Nike to Adidas. With Tennessee's apparel deal with Nike about to expire, the Knox News' Adam Sparks reported that the university is considering different options. Adidas could be an option, and there are a few reasons why the Volunteers could make the switch. Tennessee left Adidas in 2014 to sign with Nike, and the amended deal runs through 2026. Through the partnership, the university is set to receive $1.2 million in base compensation in 2025 and 2026, and then $4.5 million in annual product allotment. The contract expires June 30th of 2026, so not after this season, but after next. UT initially signed its deal with Nike in 2014, and the original contract paid the school $7.6 million through 2022 and 2023. However, the amendment increased that figure to $11.6 million over 11 years and increased the scheduled payment to $1.2 million for the final 3 years of the agreement, starting in 2023 and 2024, According to the contract, Tennessee and Nike started talks to extend the deal in late 2024. Per the Knox News. However, the exclusive negotiating window closed March 30th, meaning the Volunteers are able to explore other options, like Adidas. An agreement could come as soon as this summer, so the school can get a brand and get ready to create and distribute new uniforms. As the Knox News noted, player pay is now a majority priority for athletic departments as they consider apparel partnerships. Additionally, schools will be able to directly share revenue with athletes if the House v. NCAA settlement receives full approval. The cap is set at $20.5 million for the first year of the agreement, and it would increase by 4% each year as the part of the 10-year settlement. Sorry, again, I know this is a lot. Universities have been seeking other revenue streams in preparation, and the NCAA has allowed on-field sponsorships last year when the agreement received preliminary approval. A higher payout from a company such as Adidas would help ease the blow. Adidas and Nike, two of the top brands in college football, and Adidas has partnerships in place with multiple big-name programs as of late. The company signed an agreement with Texas A&M in 2022 worth more than $47 million over 5 years, according to Sports Business Journal, and $3 million per year in base compensation. Texas Tech also secured a 10-year partnership with Adidas in 2024 that includes $50 million in total product allotment. Additionally, former Red Raiders star Patrick Mahomes, who has an endorsement deal with Adidas, partnered with the school on an NIL initiative. 6 athletes signed with Team Mahomes as a part of NIL deals. So, there's that. I don't know why I had to read about Patrick Mahomes. Can't stand that guy. But you get what it's saying. It's basically saying if you just heard me yap for who knows how long for absolutely nothing, it's meaning that Nike's getting more expensive, everything else is getting more expensive with having to pay these players, and they think that if they can get Adidas for more money, that's going to help ease in the blow of having to pay these guys more money. It's that simple. Me personally, I know, a lot of Tennessee fans are not a fan. They hated the Tennessee jerseys when they were Adidas, when guys like Justin Worley and Pig Howard were here. They said that it was an off-brand yellow and just slop that Adidas threw on Tennessee's uniforms. Me personally, I liked them. Maybe that's a nostalgia thing, but I liked it. Maybe, like I said, maybe it's because I grew up watching those, and that's what I remember as a little kid. I'm still a kid, but as a little kid, but I liked them. I also like the fact that I'm about to be on campus and I own an unhealthy amount of Adidas clothing due to being on the Adidas basketball circuit just last year. So again, I like that too. I also like Adidas shoes more than I like Nike shoes. None of this matters to me. I'm not a football player. But I kind of like the Adidas more. They were our first year of having the grays. If you guys remember, we had the grays with the orange checkerboard on the shoulders. I have a jersey of that, of Jalen Hurd. So again, it's a lot of nostalgia for me, and I kind of like it. I think Texas A&M's jerseys are slick. Their all black ones are awesome. Georgia Tech's jerseys are kind of when it comes to Adidas, but Texas Tech traditionally has pretty good jerseys as well. So I would kind of like to see it. I wouldn't be mad. I'm not going to be mad either way. Some people just cannot stand it. Caleb Sisk wrote an article on Sports Illustrated about some of the reactions from fans, and they are just not good. And a lot of people are not a fan of it. I would kind of like it. It brings back some dark times in Tennessee football, just with Butch Jones and all the things, brick by brick, all that, and just not being very good. Not near as good as we should have been. But I kind of hope that it does go back, so that's my opinion. You guys let me know your opinion in the comments. But I think that's going to wrap it up for today's Wednesday edition of the show. I really appreciate you guys for joining in. Make sure you guys are tuned in to Tennessee's baseball games today, 2 p.m. I've got work, so I don't know how much I'm going to be able to watch it. 2 p.m. against Alabama, and if they win, they've got Texas next. I appreciate you guys for joining in. I appreciate you guys for listening to what I have to say for no reason. I will see you guys on Friday, and go Vols.